Welcome to Safe Haven Sanctuary, your sacred space where we talk about all things conscious dating, creating harmonious relationships, self-worth, self-concept, and of course, spirituality. My name is Samantha, your host, your clinical counselor, and your spiritual guide. For those of you who don't know me, I have 10 plus years working in the clinical field of social services, where I have provided therapy to survivors of trauma. I currently provide trauma-informed therapy to one-on-one individuals and couples who are facing challenges within their relationships, helping them to transform their relationships into harmonious and loving and aligned ones, including the ones with themselves. Thank you so much for being here, from the bottom of my heart to yours, and let's get into this episode. So let's jump into today's topic, and we are going to talk about 3 things that you can do to strengthen your relationship with your partner and bring in more consciousness. Okay, this is going to be, well, let's see. I'm going to say it's a short episode, but you guys know that I like to talk so much. So we'll see what happens. But anyway, okay, we're going to get right into it. And the first thing that I want you to start doing in your relationships is having weekly intentional meetings. Okay. Now, what does that mean? You're probably like, what do you mean? Like a business meeting? No. No, I don't mean a business meeting. I think it's so important to have intentional time to discuss issues that come up in your relationship. And not only issues, but sort of like what could have occurred better, like how could you guys have handled the situation better, the feelings that have come up, the wounds that may have come up, and talk about it. And with these weekly intentional meetings, like, it just needs to be you and your partner. Okay, if you guys have kids, do it when the kids are sleeping, hire a babysitter, I don't know, let your sister or brother take care of them, I don't know, but this time needs to be just for you guys, even if it's half an hour a week, okay? You guys can find half an hour a week. You can. I know it may feel like you can't, but if you have time to scroll on social media, I'm calling you out, you have time to meet with your partner for half an hour a week. And this is going to make huge strides in your relationship, because you guys are both making a commitment to tend to each other's feelings, to tend to each other's thoughts, to tend to your relationship as a union, right? And this doesn't mean that you don't address problems on the spot. Like, you're not going to be waiting till these weekly meetings to address problems. But sometimes there are things that come up, you know, especially if you have kids, and there's certain topics that you can't discuss in front of your kids, or like, say like you're feeling super heated because something that your partner says. You know, sometimes it's not appropriate to address things in front of the kids. And you can wait until like bedtime when you guys have time alone to discuss these things, or you can talk about these in the weekly meeting. So, I mean, you have to be the judge of what's appropriate for the weekly meetings and what's appropriate to be addressed in the moment or at a later time in that day. Okay. But what I want to make really clear is that, like, you're not holding on to like all these problems or things that have come up until these weekly sessions, because I want these weekly sessions for you to be intentional, you know? And so maybe you guys create guidelines around these weekly intentional meetings. Okay, so maybe there's themes for the meeting. So maybe, you know, you guys talk about, you know, childhood things that have come up, or maybe you talk about finances in this meeting. Maybe you talk about, you know, a course that you guys want to take together to, you know, build on your love or build on your trust and communication. You get to decide what the weekly intentional meetings are, but there does need to be some sort of intentional time set aside for the both of you guys to discuss what's happening in the relationship, okay? And I really want to be clear on these weekly intentional meetings. It's not yelling matches. Like, we're sitting down, we're having calm conversations, we're communicating clearly. Okay, we're not blaming our partners either. We're using I feel statements. We are coming from a place of love instead of from a place of aggression. Let's just say that. Okay? Because it's not you guys against each other. You guys are a union. You guys are a couple. It's meant for you guys to come closer together, and it's you guys against the problem. Okay? The two of you versus the problem, not the two of you versus each other. Okay? So maybe I'm going to do another episode around like what these weekly meetings could look like. Okay? But in the meantime, let's move on to the second point. Because like I said, I want to make this one really short, something for you guys to just like have and integrate and apply really quickly. Another weekly intentional time set aside, but this is different. Okay, so weekly intentional non-sexual intimacy. I think that you guys should have sexual intimacy weekly or whatever works for you guys. I don't know. But when I say weekly intentional non-sexual intimacy, what I'm talking about is taking the time to do things that are very intimate, but don't involve the act of sexual intercourse. Okay? So if you are familiar with the term eye gazing, and I'll just go into it, like this is something that I have found has worked so deeply with the clients that I've worked with. And eye gazing is when you guys are just sitting across from each other, cross-legged, or maybe you guys are like straddled on each other, I don't know, with your clothes on. Again, non-sexual intimacy. But you guys are just taking a moment to maybe hold each other's hands. I like to place, so you would take your right hand and place it on your partner's heart, on their left chest. Okay. That way you guys are connecting your heart. It's really sweet. You get to feel and hear their heartbeat, and it connects you guys and your hearts on an energetic level, right? If that doesn't feel good for you, you guys can just hold hands and gaze into each other's eyes. And it might feel really funny at first. Like you guys might giggle, you might laugh. It's fine. Giggle, laugh, like let that be a moment, but then come back to it and really just take a moment to stare into each other's eyes. And then I want you guys to share what you feel, share what you see. And if you are doing this seriously, and I don't want to say correctly because it's going to be different for every couple, but there are going to be deep emotions that come up. There might be crying, there might be laughing, like I said. There might be deep sense of hurt. There might be something that comes up for you individually of like what you're feeling. Maybe, a childhood wound of abandonment. Maybe there might be within this moment, because it gets very intimate, like your souls start to connect, not just through your heart, through your eyes. Have you ever heard of this saying, like, eyes are the windows to the soul? And that's why, because when we can look someone in the eyes, there's so many stories about them, right? And so if you want your relationship to thrive, let your partner know that it's safe for their stories to surface. And same for you. And this can all be surfaced through eye gazing. Okay? So again, you can sit in front of your partner. You can straddle your partner. You guys have to be in close proximity though. Or maybe, if eye gazing feels too tough for you in this moment, maybe you guys are sitting just across from each other and you guys place your third eye, like your foreheads, to each other and connect that way. And then work your way up to eye gazing. I think both are really great to play with and just see what happens. See what happens. You're going to see that if you are open, if your heart's open, if your mind's open, that there's going to be things that come up. That might sound really scary, but things have to come up in order for us to heal in our relationships. Okay. The next thing, we're still on the same point of non-sexual intimacy. I'm just giving you some examples of what that would look like. So we said that eye gazing. The next one I want to I want to bring to your attention is skin caressing. Okay, so maybe you take time to hold your partner's face in your hand. Like, I can't tell you how much I love doing this, okay? When I'm in a relationship or when I'm with someone I love, you better believe I'm going to be holding their face, okay? It's just a form of affection, like deep affection, and like holding someone's face, like, oh gosh, I love it. And you just feel their face in your palms, and you know, and to have your face be held too feels so good. It does. So again, skin caressing, so you can hold someone's face and gently like graze your thumb on, you know, their face. And I'm doing this, by the way, while I'm talking to you, because I'm thinking that you can see me, but you cannot. Maybe I'll have to remake this and show you guys with the eye gazing and the skin caressing. But, you know, maybe it's not just their face. Maybe it's, you know, their arm, or maybe, you know, you just take their hand and you interlace your fingers and you intentionally are just grazing your thumb on them, on their hand, and maybe it's like a gentle kiss on their hand too, or their forehead. Like, there's so many ways to skin caress. And I know, like, this might be hard to like do this without sexual intimacy, but try it. Like, really stay committed to having this time of non-sexual intimacy and connecting to each other in that way, because it's important. Because sometimes with some relationships, it can be really easy for it to just only become about sex, right? But no, we are not in those relationships. We are in conscious, healthy relationships where it's beyond the physical. It's beyond, you know, it's beyond sex. It's beyond sex. It's deep. It's nurturing. It's loving. And that gets to show up in so many different ways, right? The next suggestion I have, y'all are going to be like, Sam, you're torturing us. Like, how are we supposed to do this without being sexual? But cuddling, you know, and I say this like intentional cuddling, so like without watching a movie. So maybe you guys are on the couch or just laying in bed and you take time to just hold each other. And during this time, like, it doesn't have to be silent. I mean, tell each other why you guys love each other. Tell them how beautiful or how handsome they are. Tell them what you love about them most. Tell them how grateful you are to have them in your life. Like, this is also intimacy. Okay? And it doesn't always have to be like the lovey-dovey stuff. Like, maybe you guys are holding each other in bed and talking about really serious things that have happened to you as a child, or your wounds, or, you know, the pain that you're experiencing right now. When we share our vulnerabilities, intimacy grows deeper and stronger. So those are just some suggestions. You can come up with your own intentional non-sexual intimacy practices, but I highly recommend the eye gazing. Okay, if we're gonna do any one of them that I suggested, do the eye gazing first. Okay. All right, into my last point for all my spiritual baddies out there like myself. Having a spiritual ritual that you guys do together. Okay. A couple that is connected to their spirituality is going to thrive in so many ways. Now, when you have a spiritual ritual that you guys do together, specifically you and your partner, okay, like nobody else gets to be in on this. This is for the both of you, because building your faith, building your spirituality is the foundation of a relationship sometimes, you know, like, I mean, depending on your beliefs, but I mean, if you're here and you're listening, you're probably a spiritual person. So maybe that looks like having a certain time aside to pray together, or to meditate together, or to journal together. You know, I've seen couples journal together and like have like the same question prompts and write down what it means to them, whatever the prompt is, right? Whatever they're writing about, and then they share it after, right? Like, this is a beautiful spiritual ritual. couples who meditate together, breathing together. So when you breathe with someone, you are synchronizing your circadian system with theirs, right? Your heartbeat starts to synchronize with theirs. You literally start to beat as one, right? And I tell you this because I'm a yoga instructor, and so a lot of the times when I'm teaching classes, at first no one's breathing at the same pace, and then as class goes on, pretty much everybody is breathing at the same pace because they can hear it. They're energetically beside that person who's breathing, and that just translates like almost like a not a broken telephone, because then it wouldn't be the same, but you know what I'm saying? Like it's like a domino effect. That's what I'm saying. Okay. So meditating with someone, and like even with the meditation, like especially if you do like visualize meditations together, say like you put on a YouTube track, which I have on my channel, so you can go and do that as well. But say you have like a YouTube track that you guys are both listening to. It's a guided meditation, but you guys are both in silence, and you start to visualize whatever the prompts are. And then after the meditation, you share with each other what you saw or what came up for you. And I've seen with people, like, this is actually like crazy shit. Like, I've seen with people who have like done the same meditation, and obviously like they have different brains and different minds, but they have been in the same place. They visualize the same place. They saw the same things. And it's like, wow, that is true divine connection. True divine connection. So if you want to strengthen your relationship, put the divine as your foundation. And when I say the divine, is whatever that means to you. Maybe it's God, maybe it's the universe, I don't know. Just take that term in whatever it translates to you as, okay? And of course, like I said, praying, like I know when I am with someone, even when I'm not with someone, I just love them, I am writing letters to God about them. Like, please keep this person safe. Please, shower them with light and blessings and healing. And I just do cute shit like that, That's just what I do. I light candles for them, and just maybe incorporating these spiritual rituals. And it doesn't have to be for a long time. Like I said, it can be like a 15-minute ritual. But the whole underlying tone of this episode is taking intentional time for your relationships, for different parts of your relationship, weekly intentional meetings to talk about your problems, talk about what's coming up for you, non-sexual intimacy connection, and your spiritual connection, okay? And I, of course, could talk about, connection around sexual intimacy, because I do think that that's very important, right? But that deserves a whole other episode, and I wanted to make this shorter. It's turned into longer than I wanted it to, but I think that you guys if you apply these 3 things in your relationship, and like I said, it doesn't have to be these like long amounts of time. I know that can be hard, especially if you have children, right? But if you have the time, make it longer, or as long as you wanted to. But if time is a thing, then just dedicate 10 minutes to each of these things. So that's half an hour a day, and you get to split these things up into 10 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna leave you guys with that. I know, like I said, if you start to apply these things and integrate it, you are going to build a more conscious relationship, and it requires work on both parts. Okay, one person cannot be open and another person is closed and just not participating, or just maybe they're participating but it's like really half-assed. Like, no, like you have to commit to this. If you want your relationship to strengthen and to thrive, you need to be all in. That's the truth of it. So you get to decide. You get to decide if you want things to work with your partner. You get to decide if you want to strengthen your relationship. You get to decide how you want your relationship to look. And sometimes it's going to require you going out of your comfort zone, trying new things like these things I recommended, I can guarantee you, you're probably not doing these things in your relationship. And it's not to shame you. It's not to put you down. It's just to tell you that there are other things, when I say other things, like there's other things that are like less quote unquote practical and logical that are helpful, like these tips, because this is all connection based. It's all energetic based. It's all soul based. And that's what's missing from a lot of relationships, is the soul base. So you have work to do. Let me know in the comments or DM me if you try any of these, and let me know what the progress is like. Let me know what comes up for you. Send me a DM. I want to know what's happening for you. Okay? You can follow me on Instagram at safehavensanctuary_, or if you are feeling called to work with me one-on-one or as a couple, because I do offer couples therapy. It's one of the things that I am so deeply passionate about, because I just want people to be in harmonious relationships. I think we all deserve that. We all deserve love. And I am a hopeless romantic. I'm not even going to say hopeless. I'm going to say I'm a hopeful romantic, because you know what? I love love. Love is within me. I love seeing love. I love hearing people's love stories. I also really love diving deep into why relationships are hitting rocky points. I love knowing what's happening underneath the surface of individuals and why they're showing up like this in their relationship. And I love helping people with it because I'm good at it. And also, I think it's just so needed, especially in this day and age. So if you feel called to work with me, go on over to my website at www.samanthasafehavensanctuary.com, and you can book a free consult with me. Okay, my loves, have a beautiful day, and don't forget to bring soul-based intimacy into your relationships. Okay? Connect with the divine, connect with you, your soul, what you want, what you desire, because you are worthy of having it all. I love you. Have a beautiful rest of your day or evening. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode and spending time with me. It is truly my honor. Please be sure to follow me on Instagram at safehavensanctuary_, or you could go to my website and book a free consult call at www.samanthasafehavensanctuary.com. Remember, I provide therapy to one-on-one clients and couples who are looking to harmonize and align their relationship with their desires, their worth, and everything that they're dreaming